What is up, everybody? Back with another discography ranking, and this time it's going to be Exodus. Amazing classic thrash metal band. Some background on them: they formed in 1979. They're from California, have released 10 studio albums total, which is what I'll be ranking here today. The debut came out in 1985, Bonded by Blood. Their most recent came out in 2014, called Blood In, Blood Out. They are working on a new album right now, actually. Should be out pretty soon, but don't feel like waiting for that to come out. Just going to rank the 10 they have right now. As far as band members go, they've had a lot of guys in and out of the band throughout the years, and, some of the key members, though, you got Gary Holt on lead guitar, who's an absolute beast. He's the only member of the band that's been on every single album. Great player, a lot of great riffs and solos, fantastic tone. Rick Hinault was the other, classic guitarist that played alongside Gary for however many years. As of 2005, he's been out of the band. They've had a guy named Lee Altus since then. He is also in a band called Heathen, which is amazing as well. Great band. He's a great replacement to have in Exodus. Fantastic player. As far as drummers go, Tom Hunting is the original. He's currently in the band right now. Fantastic player, but when he was out, they had a guy named John Tempesta play on a few albums. They had Paul Bostaff play on an album, so great drumming as well from whoever they got. Tom Hunting, though, is my favorite. He's a machine. And the vocals, they've had 3 different singers on the albums throughout the years. Paul Bailoff was the original on the first album, Bonded by Blood. Then they had Steve Souza, who has been in and out of the band several times. He's currently back in. And Rob Dukes, who sang on a couple of their albums in the mid to late 2000s there. So they all kind of have the same style vocal thing, that raspy, aggressive, angry-sounding voice. I enjoy it for this music, though. It fits the music very well. And the bass playing, the classic guy was Rob Michelop, and as of the last 20 or so years, they've had a guy named Jack Gibson. So with this ranking, obviously, just my opinion as usual, going to rank them from my least favorite to my favorite. Here we go. Starting off my list, number 10 is going to have to be Impact is Imminent, their 1990 album. Really hate to put anything at the bottom with this discography because overall it is really strong. Just with this album, I think it's the least consistent, the least memorable. The production isn't really that great to me. The songs overall, for the most part, aren't really that good. Just looking at the track listing, there's 9 of them. The standouts to me, though, because there are a few good ones, are the title track. Lunatic Parade is pretty good. Objection Overruled has a cool solo. And my favorite song on the album is actually Only Death Decides. That's a pretty cool song. But Gary Holt himself has said this is his least favorite Exodus album as well. I agree with him. Don't love it. So going to have to be in at number 10. Impact is Imminent. Next up at number 9 is Pleasures of the Flesh, their 1987 album. Their first with Steve Souza on vocals. Not that it's bad or anything. I think that it's just kind of hit or miss. Half the songs are really good. Half of them are just okay. Don't really care for them. Looking at the track listing, I think Chemical is by far the best song. Really cool, kind of slow intro, builds up into an amazing sounding song overall. Deranged, Till Death Do Us Part, and Parasite. The other standouts for me, objectively speaking, the other 2 albums from the 80s, Bonded by Blood and Fabulous Disaster, just destroy this one. Yes, I'm sure some people think this one is their favorite. That's cool if you do. And then, going to the 2000s, they have so many strong albums. Just with great production, super powerful, amazing stuff. And with this one overall, I don't really get that feel from it, but still not a terrible album, but has to be in at number 9, Pleasures of the Flesh. Coming in at number 8 is Force of Habit, was released in 1992, and with this album I see it at the bottom of a lot of lists, and people say it's not good and stuff. I disagree. I think it is a really solid album. Yes, it is pretty low at number 8 here for me, not because I dislike it, it's just because I think the rest of their stuff is amazing. But this album, yes, it's not quite as thrashy, but I think the production is amazing. It's still heavy, and there's a lot of really great riffs on it. Looking at this track listing, there's 13 songs. Could have done without the covers. They're kind of cheesy. There's a Rolling Stones and an Elvis Costello cover. Don't love those, but a lot of this other stuff is really good. Thorn in My Side, Me, Myself, and I. The title track is awesome. Really good heavy riff in that one. One Foot in the Grave is great. Count Your Blessings, maybe the best song on the album. The final track is really good as well, Feeding Time at the Zoo. But overall, I think that is a pretty damn good album that doesn't deserve some of the disrespect and hate I've seen it get in the past. Force of Habit, number 8. Next up at number 7 is the Atrocity Exhibition Exhibit A. Came out in 2007. Really good album here. Super heavy, powerful, fast, aggressive thrash metal. That can really be said about all of their 2000s material. The production is amazing on all this stuff. The drumming from Tom Hunting on this album is fantastic. Got Rob Dukes on vocals, who sounds like he wants to beat the hell out of everybody he sees whenever he's singing. But the track listing, Funeral Hymn, and I'd probably say Children of a Worthless God are my 2 favorites for sure. Top to bottom, though, really good, consistent album here. Exhibit A, number 7. In at number 6 is Blood In, Blood Out, their 2014 album. This is their most recent. Again, super powerful, heavy, amazing stuff here. The production is great. The drumming is fantastic. Tom Hunting is freaking beasting on this album. The riffs and solos from freaking Gary Holt and Lee Altus are amazing. Steve Souza still sounds good. Sounds the exact same as he did back in the 80s to this day. But looking at the track listing, all of this stuff for the most part is really good. Black 13, the opening track, is awesome. The last couple on the album are really amazing. Honor Killings, Food for the Worms, Numb. What else we got here? The title track is awesome. Collateral Damage. Got Chuck Billy doing some background vocals on a couple of the songs. Kirk Hammett even does a guest solo. I haven't mentioned this yet, but he was a guitarist for Exodus from like 79 to 83. So overall, Blood In, Blood Out, really good album. Number 6. Coming in at number 5 is Tempo of the Damned, their 2004 album. At this point, it was their first release in about 12 years, so really good return. It's another really awesome album with great production, really fast, powerful, heavy stuff here. Tom Hunting on the drums again, amazing. Steve Souza was on vocals with this album. He left the band after this pretty shortly, though. Who else we got? Rick Hinault. This was the only album of theirs from the 2000s with Rick on guitar. Of course, Gary Holt is there. Jack Gibson is on the bass. Overall, really like this album. Looking at the track listing, there's 10 songs. Blacklist is awesome. War's My Shepherd, Shroud of Urine, the title track, Impaler. The opening song, Star Spangled Banner, I used to love, but I made the mistake of setting it as my alarm for a while, so now I kind of can't stand it. I don't know if anybody else has made that mistake, setting a song as your alarm. Then you really don't want to listen to that song at all anymore. But overall, this is a really, really good album here. Tempo of the Damned, number 5. Coming in at number 4 is Bonded by Blood, their debut album from 1985. Probably at number 1 for a lot of you guys, but for me, got to be at number 4. Yes, I love it. It's a great album. The sound is amazing. Classic, influential stuff here. Just like some of the other stuff, a bit more. Looking at this track listing, there's 9 songs. My favorite on it for sure has always been Strike of the Beast. Just always love that song. Piranha is great too. The song Exodus is amazing. Title track is awesome. Metal Command is fantastic. The overall sound, that classic raw, aggressive thrash metal. Some new wave of British heavy metal influence on this as well, especially in the song Metal Command, I think. Paul Bailoff on vocals. It was their only album with him. R.I.P. He passed away, sadly. But, yeah, great album here. Bonded by Blood, number 4.
A crumbling empire where rage is fear to tread into the ruins of a civilization.
Coming in at number 3 is Exhibit B, The Human Condition. Amazing stuff here. Came out in 2010. It's their last album with Rob Dukes on vocals. Lee Altus and Gary Holt play the guitar on it. Amazing duo. Freaking awesome playing throughout the album. Great riffs and solos everywhere. Tom Hunting on drums again. I've said it multiple times, but he is an absolute machine. Kills it on this album. And, of course, you got Jack Gibson on bass, who's a good player as well. Looking at this track listing, 12 songs, a lot of amazing stuff. But some of the standouts for me, I'd say, are the opening track, The Ballad of Leonard and Charles is really good. Beyond the Pale, Hammer and Life, Class Dismissed, A Hate Primer is awesome. Downfall, and probably Good Riddance. But top to bottom, that is a fantastic album. Again, that's super fast, heavy, aggressive thrash metal, amazing production. Always loved this album, and I actually did rank this in a past video, my top 30 albums of the decade, 2010 to 2019, had this in the top 5, so been a big fan of this album for a while, absolutely love it. Exhibit B, number 3. Coming in at number 2 is Fabulous Disaster. Came out in 1989. Stone cold classic thrash album right here. Love the overall sound of it. A lot of amazing tracks on here. Really consistent from top to bottom. 9 songs. A few standouts I would say are the title track. Of course, the Toxic Waltz is probably their most famous song, and it's amazing. Cajun Hell, I think, is a really unique and cool song. Maybe my favorite on here. I'm not exactly sure, but it is definitely up there. One of their best of all time, I'd say. Really cool song. Looking at the rest of the stuff, like Father Like Son is awesome. Open Season's great. Verbal Razors. So, just top to bottom, fantastic album here. Classic stuff. Fabulous Disaster, number 2. And taking the number 1 spot is Shovelheaded Kill Machine from 2005. Amazing album. I've always loved it. Super heavy, fast, aggressive, brutal thrash metal here. The production is amazing. Was their first with Rob Dukes on vocals, first with Paul Bostaff on drums, and their first with Lee Altus on guitar. But you got Gary Holt there, who laid down a ton of amazing riffs. The riffs all over this album are amazing. And of course, Jack Gibson on bass again. But I kind of remember the first time I heard this, actually. I was in high school about 7 years ago, so I was like 10th, 11th grade or something. In gym, randomly put this on. I don't think I was a huge Exodus fan at this point, but just remember being blown away by this. Just super heavy, amazing stuff, and I've always loved it since then. Looking at the track listing, my 2 favorites for sure on here, I would say, are I Am Abomination and 44 Magnum Opus. But top to bottom, extremely consistent. Great album here. Death Amphetamine, Raise, Karma's Messenger, Shudder to Think, Altered Boy, Going, Going, Gone, Now Thy Death Day Come, and the title track. All absolutely killer. Love this album. It is my number 1 without question. Shovelheaded Kill Machine. So that does wrap up my ranking of Exodus's albums. Probably not the same as yours, but that's cool. Give me your ranking in the comments. Let me know what you thought. And until next time, thank you for watching.